Let's look at Chapter 14, Lesson 4 Extension, using shorthand notation to complete numbered puzzles. Complete the puzzle. We're going to have to work backwards on some of these in order to solve them. So let's go ahead and we're going to start in the second column where B's at, and we're going to try to work backwards. So looking at this, you can see the difference from the shorthand x plus 9 and 2x plus 18, and you can tell that they are doubling both of those. So 2 times x is doubled, and 9 times 2 equals 18, so that means they doubled it. Your rule for this one is going to be double it. Using that rule, let's start working backwards. Instead of doubling it for 26, it's already there, so we have to divide it by 2, and that's going to equal 13. You then take away the 9, and that's going to equal 4. You can then start working forward again, starting at the 26. 26, you add the number you thought of first, so 26 plus 4 is going to equal 30. You divide that by 3, which is going to equal 10. You add 10 to that, which is going to equal 20. You double that, which will equal 40. Subtract the number you thought of first, so 40 minus the 4, which is going to equal 36. You're going to subtract 25 from that. That's going to equal 11. Then we need to somehow make this so it's 7. Remember, the bottom row is always going to have the same number in it. So how can we make the 11 change to 7? Well, you know you're going to subtract 4, but that's not always going to work. However, you know that you have 4 as your starting number, so you're going to subtract the number you thought of first. This works because 11 minus 4 equals 7, which means that that's the number that I thought of first. Let's do the same thing for column D since it starts in the same section. Remember that in order to get 26 to 13, we were dividing it by 2 because the rule is double it and we're working backwards. Remember, the opposite of doubling or multiplying it would be dividing it. So divide 150 by 2 and you're going to get 75. And then remember, we're working backwards, so instead of adding 9, you do the inverse, which would be subtract 9, and you're going to end up getting 66. Now let's go back down to 150 and start working forward again. So 150, add the number you thought of first. So 150 plus 66, that's going to equal 216. I then am going to divide 216 by 3. And you might need to work this out on the back so you have some work, but that's going to equal 72. You're then going to add 10, which equals 82. You double that, and I know that 80 plus 80 is 160, so 82 plus 82 is 164. Subtract the number you thought of first, so 164 minus 66 equals 98. Then you're going to take 98 and you're going to subtract 25 from it, and that's going to equal 72. And then you take 72 and subtract the number you thought of first, which is 66, and that's going to equal, it would equal 6, which means that I had a mistake here. Instead of 72, that's going to be 73. 98 minus 25 is 73. Let's go ahead and start working in column A at the 26. It says that we added 10, which means we do the opposite to go backwards, so we subtract 10 and we get 16. It says then divide by 3, but in order to go backwards, we need to multiply it by 3, and I know that 16 times 3 is going to equal 48. I then am going back down to the 26. I'm going to start to work forward because I'm not quite sure how to keep going backwards. So at 26, I need to double that, and I know that 26 plus 26 is going to be 52. I then subtract the number that I thought of first, but I'm not quite sure how to move forward because I haven't yet filled in all of my shorthand. So let's go back and try to fill in the shorthand as best as possible. I know that in order to get 30, I had to take 3 times x, which would be the number up at the top, letter B, and then I'm going to add 18 to that, which would be 12 plus 18 equals 30. So that's 3x plus 18. Using that information, I can go back and see that the 48 in the A column would just be 3x plus 18. I can actually take away the 18 from that, and that would be 30, divided by 3 for the 3x, and that would be 10 for my x. Now I can start moving forward again. 10 plus 9, which is the shorthand for add 9, is going to be 19. And then I have 2 times 10 is going to be 20, plus 18 is going to be 38. Let's go ahead and work on our shorthand again in order to get divide by 3. But I can see that I have 16, which would be 6 more than 10, and I have 10, which is 6 more than 4, and I have 72, which is 6 more than 66. So I know that it's going to be x, my original number, plus 6. Okay, the next one I have 26, which would be 16 more than x. I have 20, which is 16 more than x, and I have 82, which is 16 more than x. So it would be x plus 16. Now I'm going to look at doubling it, which I know that doubling it would be 2x, and then what did I have to add to that? I know from 20 to get to 52, I would need to add 32. To get from 8 to 40, I would need to add 32. So I know that it's going to be 2x plus 32. Let's keep filling in column A now. I know that 52, and I'm going to subtract the number that I thought of first. 52 minus 10 is going to be 42. Subtract 25 from there, which is going to be 17. Now we can fill in the rest of the shorthand. I know that when I subtract the first number, I'm going to actually have x plus a number which is 32, because it's not the 2x anymore, it's just x plus 32. Or I could have 10, and the difference between 10 and 42 is 32. The difference between 4 and 36 is 32. And the difference between 66 and 98 is 32. So let's look at our bottom, where we're going to actually subtract 25. And you can actually see that it's going to be x plus 7, because 10 plus 7 is 17, 4 plus 7 is 11, 66 plus 7 is 73. We have one last column, letter C, that we're going to start filling in. Remember, we're going to start at the 20 though, and I'm going to work backwards. And I know that 20 and divide by 3, it needs to be the inverse since I'm going backwards, so multiply by 3, which would be 60. Then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to subtract 18. And I know that's 42, but I'm going to also divide it by the 3 and the 3x, which is going to be 14. So my original number is 14. Then I could add 9 to that and I get 23. Then I could double that and I would get 46. Going back down to the 20, I could add 10 and get 30. I can double that and get 60. I can subtract the number that I thought of first from 60 and get 46. Subtract 25 from there and I would get 21. 21 minus my original number of 14 is 7. Following these rules can be confusing. You need to keep them straight, and remember, when you're working backwards, you're doing the inverse of what the words say.